Happy Monday. Good morning, Monday Tribe, and welcome to the most important hour of the week. I have a really special topic for you today that I've always been thinking about, and we're just going to jump right into it. The time is just flying by. It is already almost July 4th. It's my favorite holiday. Hope you guys have some fun plans with friends and family, but we got to get this week done first. And so the topic for today is common knowledge versus common execution. Common knowledge versus common execution. So this one is so easy but so difficult at the same time. So ever hear somebody be like, "Yeah, it's common knowledge. Yeah, it's common knowledge." Maybe you didn't have as many smart aleck friends as I did, but they really, "Oh yeah, man, it's common knowledge." And I always thought about that, and I'm like, okay, well, if it's common knowledge, why isn't it so easy? And if that has to do with a variety of things, if that has to do with where you're trying to advance professionally, if that has to do with how you're trying to take care of yourself from a health and fitness perspective, if that has to do with just wanting to learn and grow more and stretch yourself. But it's like, okay, well, if that's common knowledge, then why is it so difficult? And the piece that's so difficult is the common execution, because the execution is everything but common. Because if it was common execution attached to every common knowledge, then we'd have a lot more fit people running around. We'd have a lot more people accomplishing their goals professionally. We'd have a lot stronger relationships with people around us. And that execution piece is often so simple, but not easy. So that's another thing that my dad in particular has always shared with me: simple, but not easy. I'm like, well, if something's simple, shouldn't it be easy? And I've definitely had some examples in my life. I'm sure you've had in yours. Where like, man, this is so simple. Don't eat a bunch of donuts, right? But it's not easy. So that's really one of the things I want to talk with you today. And some of the line items to help us get through that is pain or purpose. So really, because when it comes down to execution, it typically means then there's some sort of activity that we have to do, some sort of something that's demanding our attention, something that's demanding our focus, something that makes us eliminate distractions, something that makes us execute on that activity. And when we're doing so, I mean, it's only natural for us to want to do things that are somewhat easier, the easier path. Like our brain just wants to take care of ourselves and do the easier path. But it only really will respond and put yourself in an uncomfortable position if you have a great enough purpose for why you want to go into this uncomfort level of discomfort, or there's a great enough pain. Basically meaning you're excited enough about something that it's worthwhile to pay that price. You're excited about the results you'll get. You're excited about how it will make you feel. You're excited about what it'll do for you or for other people, or you're scared enough of it. Which for different situations, you have to use different things. Another example I could use for that is when I quit chewing, which has been 3.5 years now since I've had one. Still tough, but I first tried to quit, and it was all about, I should quit. I should quit. I should quit. And so it's kind of like a pain quit. Like I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to have any health issues, or, the people around me that I care about and care about me are telling me I should quit. It's kind of gross. Those are all reasons why I should quit. And I lasted about 3 months. And it was St. Patrick's Day. So it started in January, New Year's resolutions and all that. And it lasted about 3 months. Started January, and then it was St. Patrick's Day. Had some people over, we went out, and I come back, and my buddy had left his can just sitting on my counter. And I folded. So then ended up chewing still the rest of that year. And then it was January of 2017. So I guess I'm on 3.5 years. January of 2017, I quit again. And this time I flipped it. It was more about pride or more about purpose for me. And it was like, can you do this? Can you accomplish this goal? Regardless of what it is. I made it more about a mental toughness thing than I did of, I should quit. I was like, I want to quit because I want to prove to myself that I can do this thing. And that is what worked for me. So sometimes you just have to try different approaches, because our body will only respond. I mean, we only want to put ourselves in uncomfortable, only willing to put ourselves in an uncomfortable position is if we're excited enough about it, or scared enough of it. And we have to come to the reality with that. And sometimes that means a lack of a vision. Like if you don't have purpose for something, then maybe you could spend some time visioning for what that would truly do for you if you accomplish that. And in order to create a strong enough vision, that's where the education piece comes And if you just educated yourself a little bit further, then maybe you could crank the dial a little closer to easy from simple. An example of this is how what we put in our body from a food standpoint, or from an exercise standpoint. And like I never knew what the benefits of walking did for you from a just overall wellness and exercise standpoint. And so I mean, I never went on a walk intentionally, just randomly, at least, especially not if it was for fitness. I was D3 football player. You know what I mean? Like that was something that played sports my whole life. I wasn't just going to go for a walk, but once I educated myself on the value of that and just how simple it could be, could put a book in my ear, could put music on and just kind of zone out for a while, on an incline, whatever it might be. Once I knew the benefits of that, then it made me that much more inclined to go do it, because the trade-off made more sense now between what I was putting in and what I was going to get out. Same thing with food. I don't know about you guys, but quarantine actually made we educated ourselves a little further on different options food-wise that we could make that were easy, fun to make, and that also tasted good and were pretty healthy. And that's always been a barrier for me, is the making of and preparation of the food, and then just the lack of options or variety that I was of myself aware of that would taste good, that I could make, and that were still healthy. So education, I'd say, I don't want to use it as a crutch or an excuse, but education, I'd say, is the number one reason why I didn't try to develop a better eating schedule or program before, or intermittent fasting, learning about, okay, well, I could eat the same amount of food, but if I just scrunch it into this amount of time, then there's this much, benefit from it if you follow that, and that's what works for your body. So just all these different little pieces of education. And another thing there that is kind of more of a lesson was, we're a combination of the things we read, we surround ourselves by, the people we surround ourselves by, what we listen to, all of those different things. And, or you may have heard, you're a combination of you're the average of the 5 people you hang around with most. And if you were to think about those 5 people right now, and I think about my 5, I'm like, you know what? That's about right. I am right about in the middle of that 5. And now in the middle, it's all your own perception. But, I'll be like, wow, I am kind of in the middle if you rank, professionally and relationships and the person I want to be spiritually, and just, how I want to be, who I want to represent, ideals I want to represent. I'm like, I am kind of, right there in the middle. So if we know this, though, again, same thing, common knowledge, common execution. If we know this already, why do we still watch negative ass news? Why are we still hanging out with the same people who aren't on the same path that we are on, that don't have the same purpose that we do? Doesn't mean you shouldn't still be loyal to those people, at least in my opinion. Loyalty is a core belief and value of mine, and it's a huge deal. I mean, you only have so many loyal people in your life, but to be spending so much time with forces around you, or letting so much stuff in, that isn't propelling you, isn't on the same path and propelling you and giving you the purpose you need to make the decisions to execute, so that the things you want, you can have for yourself and for other people, then why are we putting those inputs into our body? And so education is just a huge deal for that, and making sure that the more self-aware you are, then the closer you're going to be able to make those easy decisions and turn simple into easy. And then making habits. We all talk about this. Breaking habits is difficult. Forming them can be difficult. One for me, and this kind of goes into make it public too, because that's a big thing for me to be able to accomplish a lot of the things that I really want to put my mind to. I've learned through trial and error that one way to really motivate me to accomplish and to follow through and to finish something is by making something public. And so with Lauren, my fiance, I told her that I was going to floss every single night for like 100 days. I was going to floss. And my aunt's a dentist, she always told me floss. I've always been good about, toothbrush, mouthwash, with that floss stuff. Like, you can catch me outside with that. Like, I was not going to. It's difficult. I didn't want to floss any night. It's like, why would I want to do this? This sucks. But then, the pain wasn't big enough, because I'm like, I'm going to brush enough, and I'm going to use mouthwash enough, and I'm going to make sure that I am on a routine with it and take care of myself. And then the purpose wasn't big enough either, because I'm like, my teeth are, I think, all right, not the whitest, but they're not the darkest, and they're fairly straight except for these ones. And when I smile, I can't see them. So I'm like, all right, my teeth are fine. So the purpose wasn't big enough either. Flossing is such a simple task. So I told Lauren, made it public, that I was going to floss for 100 days to try to form that habit. And man, there were times where I'd do it. I'd try to get ready different time than her for bed, just so she wouldn't know what my routine was. And I'd get in bed and she would just know. She'd be like, "Did you floss?" Because she was helping hold me accountable. She'd be like, "Did you floss?" And of course I can't lie to her. So I'm like, so what do you want to do tomorrow? You can just change the subject, right? So then I would get my butt out of bed, which I always have a joke. I never can get in bed once. I always end up having to do something after I get in bed the first time. So much shouldn't even get in bed. But so I get up, floss, top, bottom, whole thing. I use that's another thing, educate, and then use different resources. That should be on here too, using different resources. So the string where you got to wrap your fingers and go, that wasn't really for me. Maybe that was making it more difficult, where I was like, you know what, maybe we make it easier if I use those little things that have the little hook on them and then a little thing and you get through them. And sure enough, it worked. Go figures. The reason why these dang things exist is to make it easier on you to do something you don't want to do. So there's all these other resources out there too that we could educate ourselves on that might be more fit for us. But then that flossing habit, then I almost looked forward to it. And then I got a little bit of a high or a sensation from doing what I said I was going to do, which I don't know if you guys have ever felt that before. And then it became a habit, and then it became part of my routine where, if I didn't do it, it felt weird not to do it. Because it's just that feeling and that total completion of that routine, and routines, which we've talked about a little bit in the morning routine with the mantra and the micro practices throughout the day, but an evening routine and making sure that you're closing out your day, you're flushing your day, you're thinking about what went well that day, you're thinking about what could have went better, you're thinking about the most important tasks you have for tomorrow. Those are all things that kind of involved in my nightly routine that I've heard have helped, help you sleep better. Turning up your phone off, or at least not looking at it 30 minutes to an hour before bed will help you sleep better. Go figure, that works too. Playing rain sounds or background noise or white noise help you sleep better. Go figure, that works too. All of this stuff, I think I mentioned this last time, it has an opportunity cost to try it. Opportunity cost. What are you giving up for an exchange? What's the trade-off? Well, besides your time. Well, okay, why don't if they say sleeping with a weighted blanket or sleeping with white noise, they say that stuff will help, let me try it. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't mean you have to keep doing it. You're not like contracted to yourself and trying these different things to help you. But that effort and that trying to go through that experiential learning of what works best for you, with different things that will help transcend just that level of you being able to execute. Another topic here is willpower. There's a really good book called Willpower Instinct. And it talks about how we just have a tank of willpower that we wake up with each day. And somebody's tank might be bigger or smaller based on, their just who they are and what they do and how they take care of themselves, but that we have a tank. And so if we can set our routines up in the morning and throughout the day so that we can use as little willpower as possible, then that means we'll have more willpower for the harder stuff and the stuff that needs more of our attention. And that's super important, because think about all the willpower you're spending on tasks that don't do anything for you, or they got to get done. You got to make eggs for breakfast. Okay, great. Yeah, that's important. But if you wake up super tired or something like that, you got to use so much willpower just to do that small task. That in terms of your vision, in terms of your purpose, is it really propelling you closer to your purpose? Some people on here probably like, heck yeah, it is. I can't do shit without breakfast, which is fine. But how much willpower are you spending on little tasks that if you could take that willpower and have more left for the bigger tasks that you identify are most important in your day, how much more likely you'd be able to turn simple into easy on the little things in your day that you want to do better at. And then the last piece on here is do it now. Period. Do it now. One of the biggest reasons why people don't accomplish their goals is procrastination. I'm guilty of it. This probably is the hardest one for me. I'll be like, oh, well, I can do it tomorrow. I can do it next week. I can do it this time. This is the reason why I can't do it right now, because I'm focused on these things. Yeah. I'll trick myself with all this stuff. I'll be like, oh, well, I need to focus because I said that these two things were the most important thing to me today. So even though I just thought of this other thing that's really important, I'm just going to do that tomorrow because I got full plate today. No, you don't. Just do it now. Do it now. Do it right now. There's another book called 5-Second Rule. It takes your brain 5 seconds to talk yourself in or out of something. You might be able to do it, switch your thoughts on it later with a lot of effort. But for the most part, your brain makes a decision on whether it wants to do something in the first 5 seconds, which is just bonkers. And I felt that if you read that book, 5 second rule, you'll experience it too. There's actually a story of kind of how Lauren and I started getting going together. It was 5 second rule. We were at a concert and she was looking at me, and I just went in for that kiss, because it was, I was like 1, 2, 3, 4. I literally, in my head, I was listening to that book on a road trip, and I was like, screw it. Like, this is a bad idea. I shouldn't do it. But I was like, I said it in my head, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I just did it. And, that was kind of the beginning of being engaged and getting married in about 100 days. So life comes at you fast. Sometimes you got to make those decisions now. You never know what opportunities might pass you by. That you're not even aware are passing you by because you're not executing and doing the things you need to know are important to you and doing them now. Lack of a vision, lack of someone holding you accountable, and lack of doing it now. So procrastination, lack of a vision, lack of accountability, or procrastination. Those are killers to turning simple into easy and having common knowledge and making sure that you are part of the common execution of the things that are most important to you to be the best you want to be. Wrapping up today, getting into the journal prompts. I know that a few of you messaged me saying that you enjoyed last week, but you didn't journal. Well, specifically Carbone, I'm calling you out. Make sure you journal today. Another thing, common knowledge versus common execution. There is so much research, so much data out there to support the art and the process of journaling and the benefits that has for you. Even just writing stuff down that isn't even really a prompt, it's just putting it on paper. It's irrefutable. And so, Addison, I encourage you to go on there and educate yourself a little bit, and so that you can turn simple into easy with journaling. And I'm going to go through these prompts, and then I'm going to encourage you to pause the video to accomplish these prompts, whether it's thinking about them aloud or writing them down. And then we'll wrap up today. So first one, what are the 2 most important things for you to execute today? How would you feel if you did them extremely well? What are the 2 most important things for you to execute today? How would you feel if you did them extremely well? Second prompt, what would you try if you couldn't fail? Why haven't you tried this before, and what can you execute to begin? What would you try if you couldn't fail? Why haven't you tried this before? And what can you execute to begin, to get started, to not procrastinate? Third prompt, what do you wish you could do more often? Why don't you? And what do you enjoy most about that activity? What do you wish you could do more often? Why don't you? And what do you enjoy most about that activity? I love these 3 prompts. I hate writing, and I could write for days on these 3 prompts. I hope you guys have a great Monday and a great week. Thanks for coming to Monday Morning Happy Hour, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Make today great.